Hi everyone. This is my version of the communication model. If we were in a classroom right now, I would be putting this on the whiteboard. So I decided to put it on my whiteboard. I am at Bristol Community College in Fall River. You can hear noise in the background. That's Route 24. It is a beautiful day and I am enjoying being outside. This communication model is the model that I show in my public speaking class, right? When I'm all done with the explanation and everything fits for interpersonal, I'm going to show you what makes it interpersonal. I have also attached a link that's below this, my video that I'm doing right now, that is the proper model for purely interpersonal. But I want to go over the terminology. Where you see the word source in the circle, the source is the originator of the message. So again, if this was public speaking, you would think of the source as the speaker. The speaker or the source has an idea or a thought, and that is called the message. The message is then encoded. The source decides, how am I going to get my message across? What vocabulary am I going to use? What examples? What's the emotion? What's my pacing, diction, setting, all those choices. But the source encodes the message over to the receiver. In public speaking, you would call the receiver the listener. The receiver, the one who is taking in the message. The receiver then interprets the message, and that is called decoding. When a source encodes a message and a receiver decodes a message, it is not just the sound or the actual words or the verbal, but it's also the visual and then the emotion in the vocal. So the message is divided between two basic parts, verbal, nonverbal, and then nonverbal is broken down into the visual and the vocal. And we will talk more about these as the semester goes on. Now, this is a circle. There are arrows pointed, feed forwarding in one direction, and there's always going to be feedback, right? Always feedback. And even if it's nonverbal or it's not the verbal words, but sometimes there's sound, there's visual feedback, and that's going back to complete the communication. The word channel is telling us that there's various ways or mediums to convey this message. Sometimes it's face-to-face, sometimes it's on the phone, or Skype, or Zoom, or even texting. Even though this is supposed to show oral communication, texting is part of our interpersonal and even in some ways our public speaking if we are going to be doing public speaking with PowerPoint, that sort of thing, visuals like this. So this is, and the word context in the corner there is saying the environment in which this communication has taken place. And noise, which is on both sides of this rectangle, is any interference that is affecting the source or the receiver. Internal noise could be your attitude, intrapersonal conversations, losing your train of thought. External noise could be literally like sound that you cannot hear the message being sent, or you can't receive it, or visual, like you get distracted for a second. So all these variables go into the communication process. And in the very center there, I have the word shared meaning and connection. And my definition of communication is that the source's encoding of the message and the receiver's decoding of the message, where they're on the same page, on the same wave of understanding, that's the communication, that's the connection. So a source could be saying what they think they're sending out for messages, so much more information that's actually being received. It doesn't matter how much you think you're sending out. The real connection has to do with the receiver. Now, how this changes for interpersonal, as you will see in the link that I provide after this video, is that the source and the receiver on both sides are the same one. So you will see that you in interpersonal, it's not turn taking like this, like my turn, your turn. You are always sending out a message. Anytime you are with another human being in the same viewing or in the same medium, like you're both on Zoom or you're both on FaceTime and you're both together, you are always the source and the receiver, because you cannot not communicate. Even silence is communication, and especially the nonverbal. I think I've done it. I think these are all the terms I want you to know for now. So source, receiver, receiver, source, and I will write that. Let me see if I can do this with the video. If I can do it, I will, but I can't seem to do it, so I won't. I don't want to fall over. But when you look at the link below, you'll see what I'm saying. And noise is any distraction, and on both sides. And also another term that is not on this model, but you'll see sometimes in literature, is the term worldview. And they say so often we do not understand that each human being in this experience has their own perceptions, their own experiences, and their own worldview. And a lot of the ways that we encode our message, even what I'm doing right now, and the way you're decoding it, depends so much on that element. Your past experience, your epistemology, how you know what you know, how this translates to you, etc. But if you can think of the communication model, meaning the connection, and that it's not that easy to be, it's never going to be 100%. You just keep working toward it. This model could also be used for written communication as well. And the source would be the writer, and the receiver would be the reader. But I will talk more about this as the semester continues. This is very basic. And right below us, you are going to see the link to the proper interpersonal communication model. Thank you so much for listening. And this is my handwriting. It's like when I speak, it has its own personality. Hope you're having a great day. And thank you again for paying attention, because you've been doing awesome in this class, and I'm appreciating all your personalities.